going. It says preparing.
It says webinar is streaming live now.
Redirecting. Hopefully there's no echo. I had a really bad echo before. Redirecting. Hopefully there's no echo. I had a really bad echo before. Oh, we're live. Great. There's a huge lag.
I just noticed that. So do you turn the volume down?
I don't know. Can I turn the volume? Sorry, everybody. We're kind of testing this. Oh, turn on quiet mode.
I just noticed that. So do you turn the volume down?
Sorry, everybody. We're kind of testing. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I just turned my volume down on the Facebook. Did you turn yours down?
I did.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. You saw all our little technical difficulties. It's all good because it is Friday and it's Finance Friday. Yes, it is. I'm so excited. So we're trying out this little Zoom thing. I obviously have Mick here with me. We're going to introduce him in just 1 second. First, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Amy Novakovich, certified financial planner at Nova Wealth Management. Follow us on Twitter at Nova Wealth Management. Management's abbreviated MGMT. Or follow me personally at Novakovich Amy. We have a YouTube channel. Go there for quick 90-second little videos, something quick and easy. It's just the Nova Wealth Management YouTube channel. We also have a podcast, The Nova Wealth Show. We've been putting out some awesome content on the podcast. We had some interviews out in LA with some dynamite business people. And then we have some awesome interviews coming up too that we'll have on the podcast. So don't miss those. The Nova Wealth Show is on iTunes. And that's also on our website, novawealthmanagement.com. Okay, so Mick, hey, I'm so happy this worked. Mick is in Tampa, so we're going to be trying this via Zoom for a while. Sometimes we'll be here in person, but Mick McLennan is the newest member of our Nova Wealth Management team.
Super excited to be on board.
Yes. He's the director of sports and entertainment. So without further ado, I am so excited. I'm going to let you tell your background because, you know, you do it better than anybody.
Well, I'll try my best. So first, let me say that, this is my first time doing Facebook Live. And I actually thought that I would freeze the first time because, I've never been live.
You did not. That's not.
I guess that's to come next go round.
Yeah.
A little bit about me. So I've spent about, 15 plus years working in the financial services industry. I've spent the majority of that time.
I'm not being rude, by the way, Mick. I'm just checking the comments on our live.
Oh, I get it. But if you were, I'm kind of used to that now, seeing that I've been working with you for about 6 years now. But that's what I've done. For the past 15 years, I've worked with wealth advising firms located throughout the state of Florida, throughout Puerto Rico. And, I've always been always been anticipating the opportunity to join a great firm. And I tell you, 6 years ago, when I first started working with Nova, I remember our first meeting. I remember like it was yesterday when, you were telling me about Nova's approach to managing money.
A little different, probably from what you're
different. Right? Well, I mean, it was different, but I could also identify with it because I remember the first thing you said was, we have no two accounts that look the same.
Yeah, that's kind of
and when you say something like that, it really means something. It means that you're taking the time to actually listen and learn about your clients and getting to know the person on the other side of the table.
Well, and I remember your reaction too. And that means a lot to me coming from someone who meets with financial advisors all day long. At that point, when you were at that firm, literally meeting with all these different financial advisors, and you look at me like something you've never heard before, that tells me I'm doing something right.
Well, it tells me that you have not lost contact with the why behind you do business. Yeah. I mean, our business will always be about people. You know, I mean, we're in an environment where there's a lot of talk about robo-advising, cheaper is better. You know, the list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, our business is about people, and people are unique. And you have to find what makes them unique and, you know, build investment portfolios that are uniquely suited to them. I mean, we've used the term custom fit financial planning.
But a lot of people use that term custom, right? Like, I feel like everybody says, oh, we're different. Oh, we customize. So I think the difference that I need to clarify for everyone, and if I've never done this, I'm sorry, but I really feel like, and Mick, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of firms will customize in the way they manage their portfolios. So they all have these portfolios that they manage, and they say, you know, we have a unique style the way we manage our portfolios, or we have a unique service model, you know, things like that. Like, it's always around service, or it's always around the way they manage their portfolios. And customize to us means something completely different. We customize the advice at the individual level. We're not putting people into a portfolio where the manager of the portfolio doesn't know the client.
Yeah.
And to me, that was always a big disconnect, especially when like 2008 came around. I didn't see where I was adding a ton of value. So, I mean, ultimately, if all you have is a portfolio and you're not managing for that individual client, if the portfolio doesn't perform, then what have you done for the client? Where's the added value? So I felt like we could add a ton more value by doing the individual money management, by taking it to the next level of customization.
So I have an analogy that I like to use. I mean, think of, you know, going into a suit store, and you know your size. You know that, you know, for me, I know that depending on the suit, I'm either a 42 or a 44 regular. But this is a suit off the rack. I know, but most people, you know, if people who wear suits, they'll get this. But that's my size, and I can pull that 42 or 44 regular off the rack, and I can take it to my tailor, and then they can go in and tailor that suit to my specifications, and it's going to look great. But that's a lot different than actually going to a tailor, picking your fabric, picking the style of suit. Do you want double vent or single vent? Picking your buttons. I mean, that's a totally different.
Where you want your pockets.
Exactly. That is a suit that is from point A to Z. It's customized to your specifications. Now
sorry, go ahead.
No, that off the rack that you've tailored will look good, but it will never fit you the way that tailor-made suit will fit you. And that's the Nova way. That's the difference in how Nova is approaching, you know, dealing with our clients.
I love that, because, you know, what I have found is when I'm talking to people, you can ask people all day long, what's your risk?
Right.
What's a tax savings to you? Which, by the way, we're going to get to taxes, I promise.
Yes.
But, you know, and everybody has this different view of what is risky. So, like, I have a client that hangs on to his Disney stock because he likes the actual physical stock certificate. To him, he's like, this is my safety. I'm never getting rid of this. And to some ex-CEOs that we have that have a pile of money into one company, but that's their safety because they worked at the company for 40 years. Now, to someone else, like a client that I just had in here this morning, literally to her safety is, if it's not FDIC insured, I don't want it. You know, it's different to some people. If it's not in a hole in the backyard, I don't want anything to do with it. If it's not real estate, to some builder clients of ours that you know what we're talking about, it's real estate that's safety. Everybody has this different definition. So how can you possibly just ask somebody, oh, are you conservative? Are you aggressive? When it means something different to everyone.
Absolutely.
Completely different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's why after that first meeting, or when we had that first meeting, I was looking at you like you were an alien, because you got it. It was different. Yeah. And it's awesome. And I'm excited to be a part of it. So
thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you. So we're gonna transition into the topic of the day, because I know it's the Friday before tax deadline. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's rushing to get their taxes done. You know, it's so funny about this time of year because we have the clients that are completely in a rush to get like everything organized because it's just, oh, it's tax time. I just want to get it done. But then there's also the clients that are like, file an extension. I don't need to know this now. Why do they send it now? You know, it's just two complete extremes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what we want to cover today, so important if you are getting a tax refund, what to do with that money. Because, and I know you don't think of it this way, this is what we do in this show. We change the relationship with your money. We change the way you think about money, therefore, to transform the practices you make in life with your money. So, hey, Jose. So I always tell clients, I'm like, look, you do realize what a tax return is, right? This was money that was taken from your pay. This was your pay, your money, accidentally, not really accidentally, but I kind of say it like that to get the psychology in you, sent to the IRS instead of in your bank account, and now it's coming back to you. This is your pay.
Yeah.
This is not some added bonus. This is not some thank you from the IRS. This is not some accident in the IRS accounting. This was your pay that was sent to the IRS that didn't need to be sent to the IRS. There's the accident. Okay, so the question is, when the refund comes back to you, what do you do with that? Do you do what's responsible and help yourself get ahead? Or do you just go spend it like it's a vacation paycheck? Now, we deal with athletes, and Mick is going to be working a lot more with athletes and bringing on even more athletes. And so this is relatable to when you get a big paycheck too. This is when you get a big bonus. Tax return time is obviously applying to most individuals. But when you get a bonus, when you get a pay raise, when you get, hey, Brian, when you get, just get it over with, RT. I'm not even rambling today, RT. And if you get that paycheck for only a season, you know, I can't help but feel like these are all relatable, that you have to think of this the same way, that this is your pay. It's not something you just go and spend. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, you know, we, like when we're talking with our athlete clients, I mean, one of the first questions that I ask them, you know, when it comes to, you know, them getting paid, I say, I want you to look at any roster that's out there, whether it's in the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball. And I want you to tell me, how many 52-year-olds do you see on the roster? And Jim would probably joke and say, hey, how many 40-year-olds? I mean, besides Tom Brady, who will probably, you know, play until he's 70. I think Tom Brady is actually 50 right now. But on most rosters, they're not there. So what that means is that some of the money that you're making today, some of it, whether it be a bonus, whether it be a tax refund, whether it be a check, whether it be whatever, it has to be buying groceries and paying for expenses when you're 52 years old. So I absolutely agree with you. I mean, when you get those, you know, those bonuses or those, you know, big returns of capital, be smart with it. Think ahead. Think ahead. Don't think about, you know, what's just going on right now. What's the short-term game? Let's look on down the road.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that I say all the time. I've said this a lot. You never, ever will get to 50, 60, 70-year-olds and say, oh, you know what? I wish I would have saved less.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I would have started later. No one ever says that. So, and I say that all the time to hammer that home, that we don't get more time here. Mm-hmm. You can always get another check next year. You'll get more funds, but you don't get more time. When you get that check next year, it's another year into the future. So some things that you can do with your tax return. Let's talk about this. So the first thing that I say is pay down debt. I know that was, we agreed on that. And you have some interesting thoughts on that, on paying down debt.
Absolutely. I mean, we use a figure of speech that, you know, a lot of people they're still getting, you know, drunk or high off of OPM, you know, and I'm not talking, you know, what most people, I'm thinking OPM, other people's money. And, you know, there's nothing that can eat into your future, nothing that can eat into your savings, you know, like debt, especially high interest credit card debt. And let me say, I'm not one of those guys that think that all debt is bad.
No, it is not all bad. It's not all bad.
Exactly. There are some smart ways that you can utilize debt. We have a lot of business owners that are able to go out and access low interest credit lines, and they can turn around and invest that and get higher returns and earn the spread. So there are definitely some smart ways to use debt, but most of the conversations that we see are, these high interest credit cards, where someone is letting you use their money,
right?
And they're charging you these excessive interest rates.
And you're writing a check to them to have that money. You're paying money to an institution that could be in your pocket. That is your money. If you like writing checks to companies, there's a lot of companies you could probably choose to hand that to. You're getting nothing in exchange other than money that you borrowed. It's crazy that, we're doing these investment courses right now. And Jim, help me out on this, but we did an example where if you borrow at a 4% interest rate, you can borrow 35 grand, where if you borrow at a 20% interest rate, I think it was, you can borrow 7. Mm-hmm. Like the interest rate really affects, so for the same payment, by the way, I'm comparing payment amounts. It affects so much how much money is going to an institution. Mm-hmm. So if you are that person that is either in debt, or you're that person that doesn't have a savings account, if you don't have a savings account or an emergency fund, the next time life happens, you're either going to be scrambling for the money or you're going to put it on a credit card. Yeah. So the first thing you do with your tax return is you either put it in an emergency fund, a savings fund. You should have 6 months of living expenses in a savings fund. If you already have that, then move on to some important goals that are important to you. So college savings is a huge one. If you're trying to save for retirement, put it into retirement. You can have your retirement contribution up until Monday. Or I think Tamara said the deadline. Hey, Ed, the deadline is Tuesday. I invest additional money, bonuses, returns back into my business habitually, usually use. Okay, so that's a great.
Absolutely.
Usually use it towards marketing. So Brian says that he invests his additional money back into his business habitually, and he uses it towards marketing. So Erica and I did a Finance Friday a couple of weeks ago on, do you invest in yourself, which is investing in your business, or do you invest in the market or some sort of investment? And I think investing to your business is great if you know the return on that investment. Is that fair? You know what I'm saying, Mick? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you put money towards marketing dollars, at least estimate what you expect to get out of that marketing. Yeah. If you can estimate that return, then you have a sense of, okay, I put in, $10,000 and I expect to get a 10% ROI, return on investment, on this.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong by making a choice to invest in your business, because you're putting that money into something that eventually is going to generate you more revenue.
But you have to have an idea of what that is, though. You can't.
You do. But I say, on the other side, you have some who will take that tax refund and they're going to use it. I mean, and look, there's nothing wrong with leisure activities, but what's the return? What's the ROI on that investment? I mean, I think if you're taking it and you're putting it in your business, that's something that can eventually return revenue and help your bottom line. And I think that's a lot better than going out and say, putting something fancy on the car. Yeah, I have to be careful here. Because what am I talking? I mean, I don't know when the last time I got a return. So I'm trying to. For those of you just
joining, we're talking about what to do with your tax return dollars. So we're talking about dollars that got taken from your paycheck and sent to the IRS and is now going back to you. And this sounds very basic. I know it sounds really basic, but the majority of you out there, comment. I love Brian's comment, putting that money back into his business. Thank you for sharing. But most of you will take your money and spend it. You use it as vacation, or you use it to go to Disney or whatever. You use it as like this bonus. And in reality, there's so much more you could be doing with that. Even if you invested it, right, and average over time, the return on that alone can help you with your vacations. versus just taking money that was yours in the beginning that's coming back to you.
So I actually just recalled an analogy that a mentor of mine used to use when he talked about debt. And he talked about high interest debt as something that ate while you slept. All right, now think about that. Now imagine. Now I have a house full with two teenage daughters, and they're very active in sports. And if you're out there listening, by the way, if you like what we're talking about today, share this video. You know, or you can always reach out.
I'm really bad about saying
Absolutely. That. If you like what we're talking about, you know, and you think somebody else can benefit from what we're saying, you can share this video with a friend. Also, if you have questions, you know, you can send your questions in here on Facebook Live. You also, if you have a more personal question, you can email either myself or Amy. I can be reached at mick@novawealthmanagement.com.
Or you can message us on the website too. Just go to Nova Wealth Management.
Visit the website, novawealthmanagement.com. But I want you to think about that. So teenagers, like I have two teenage daughters. Some of you out there, you may have teenagers, right? And I want you to think about feeding a teenager. I mean, teenagers, when they're active in sports and
did you say feeding?
Feeding. They will eat you out of house and home, even while you're asleep. I mean, there's nothing like putting some lasagna in the refrigerator. You're saying, oh, this is going to be awesome for breakfast. And then you get up in the morning and your teenager has eaten it all, right? All right. Now,
I know a lot of people watching right now can relate to that.
Now, what make it even worse, imagine having a house full of teenagers that are eating you out of house and home. You can never keep enough food in the refrigerator, and they're not even your kids. They belong to the lady down the street, right? Their kids are coming in and they're eating everything. That is what debt is. That is what debt is. Debt will come in and eat into your savings, eat into your future. And at the end of the day, all of the interest that you're paying, it doesn't go to you. It goes to somebody else. It's to that company where they're going out and they're borrowing money cheaply. They're giving it to you on a high interest rate, and they're capitalizing. Stop feeding the ladies, teenagers who live down the street. Stop feeding them.
I love that. I love that. For those of you just joining, we just had quite a few people joining. We're talking about what to do with your tax return dollars, your money that went to the IRS, your money, and is just coming back to you. This is not like an added bonus to go spend. So we're talking about what to do with it. Mick's analogy is don't let other girls down the street eat your food.
Not quite.
It's the same thing.
That'll work. You know.
But I mean, really, you're using debt and you're just paying constantly to have that money. So instead, put it into savings so you can prepare for when stuff in life comes up. I mean, all the time you get a bill in the mail, a medical bill you didn't know was coming, and you get a cracked windshield. What did you have? You just had a cracked windshield, didn't you? Was that a cracked windshield?
I did. It's it's done now. Yes.
Yeah. But
that happens in Florida.
You know, that you didn't plan for. Yeah. So put it into savings, put it into an investment account, get ahead and get 6 months of living expenses into savings. Or what we said first was to pay down debt, pay down your high interest rate. Hey, David, let's go. Check out our Finance Friday that we did with David. He's amazing.
Hey, David. Good seeing you last night, David.
Yeah, business mistakes that people make. We have a Finance Friday that we did with him. Awesome attorney. Thank you. Hey, Tina. Great analogy. She loves your analogy.
Hey, thank you, Tina.
So again, what to do with your tax return, right? So we're constantly reviewing, Mick. I constantly go back and review because you never know when people hop on.
Absolutely.
So we're saying with your tax return, pay down debt, pay down your highest interest rate business loans too, Brian. You can pay down business loans too. So before you go spending marketing dollars, pay down any high interest rate lines of credit that you might have. And let's define high interest rate. I know what I would say. What would you say? It's high interest rate. Anything over?
For me, I think anything over 5.
I was going to say 6.
You're going to say, well, yeah. I mean, same thing, but Yeah,
Anything
absolutely.
over 5-6%, use this money to pay down debt. Help yourself get out of debt. And then you might have to bite the bullet and not go on vacation for 1 year. I know that stinks. I've done it. Jim and I it was like 2 years ago, we had 3 years without a vacation. I've done it, but you pay down that debt and you put money in a savings. And I promise you, you might be able to take 2 vacations a year if you plan right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so pay
And
down debt, put money into savings. What else?
so let's not gloss over the concept of putting money into savings, because a lot of times, we get calls from friends who are looking to start, investing, and they want ideas on different stock investments that they can make. And one of the first questions I ask is, what do your savings look like?
Mm-hmm.
And Amy, you and I, we had an opportunity to go and visit a group of clients in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that I really, liked is that, we're talking about retirement planning. We're talking about, how they should structure their 401ks.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the first things that you always focused on is, what do your savings look like? Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's imperative that, you think about what are the things that can blow up your long-term plans.
What risks are you exposed to?
Yeah. I mean, and Tina, I see your question. What kind of savings? I mean, really, we're talking about your liquid savings. We're talking about if something happened to you where you were not earning money today, if you lost your job, if you got injured and you couldn't earn a check, do you have enough liquid that you can handle? Amy and I know we talked about, is it 6 months or is it 12 months? But typically it's 6 months of liquid savings. So you try to make sure you have that stored away, and then you transition to the more long-term investing.
So Tina, he's saying like in a bank account.
Yes.
Like what kind of savings? Like in the bank in cash, not in a safe, not under your bed. I mean, in a bank, but not in investments, not in something that can fluctuate. So savings in a bank, 6 months of living expenses. I vary sometimes when I'm doing planning to 12, depending on your business. Like if you have a cyclical business, then that's when I inch closer to 12 months of living expenses or business expenses in savings, in cash savings. That's what we're talking about when we say savings.
Yeah. And Amy, I think you would also, want to add that, hey, there is a such thing as having too much cash. Let's not miss that opportunity to say that.
That's losing money too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just had a client here this morning, and she informed me she has 200,000 sitting in cash, and I'm like, "What for?" And she goes, "I don't know." She doesn't even know.
She's actually losing money.
Comfortable with that, though.
Yeah. I mean, there is a comfort level about knowing that you have that kind of cash available. But when you look at it, you think about, all right, at what rate is inflation running? You're actually losing money by having that money in cash. The cost of living is going up. I think on average, 3 to 4% a year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a savings account, you're earning maybe 1% right now. So over the long haul, you're actually losing about 2-3% a year, right? So yeah, I mean, there's a comfort level of knowing that it's there, but it may not be the wisest long-term decision.
No, not for the long term. I mean, I think it depends. And I always say this too, it depends, right? Every client is different. There's no two clients look alike. So please don't ever take these as, like, when we talk about investments, don't take these as recommendations. We're trying to throw ideas out there to pique your interest, to pique questions about your own situation. But everybody is different. And for people just joining, she got it. Tina got it.
Awesome.
People just joining, we're talking about taxes, and we're going to wrap this up in a minute, but I want to go over one last thing that you can do with your tax money. So we talked about paying down debt. We talked about putting it into savings. And now actually, I give this tip all the time. And again, this is a general statement for general information, not a recommendation. But if you already have money in the market, or if you already have money invested, when the market goes down 10% and it is in correction territory, this is an opportunity to buy. Now, I don't know how low it will go, but if you get this extra cash at a time like this, it's an awesome opportunity to put money to work because the market's down 10% from the highs. I don't even know what the market closed at today. It was flat like all day, but the last 15 minutes of the day is really what matters.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's my tidbit is that over time, if you just buy and hold, you're going to go up when the market goes up, you're going to go down when the market goes down. But where you really make a difference and you double or triple your money, when you double or triple your money later in life is when you buy when the market is down.
That was almost one of those flips you're going to have us on Netflix, I think, before long.
Right. Exactly. That's my goal. But
Right.
if you put your money to work, take your tax return money and put it in the market when you're down 10%. So if you want to put that in savings, Tina, you want to put it in savings, in cash, and whenever the market goes down, you put the money in. Mm-hmm. Over time, you will do so much better in your investing, even if you don't know a lot about investing, mm-hmm. even if you know nothing. Just know that when the market is in correction territory, put some money to work. All right. You got any last thoughts? Because we can wrap this up.
No. I think the biggest thing is, that you have the opportunity to replay this. There is replayability for this video. So if, you've watched us today and you like some of the things that you heard, share this. We also ask that you visit, our Facebook page, Nova Wealth Management, like our page, share. I think one of the coolest things that we try to do is we try to bring just additional value. Every week we want to
educate.
Educate. Yeah. We want to send out free information, timely information on what's going on in the market. And, just give you stuff that you can use. So
we should probably do one on debt. We should probably, since we talked about debt today, like what is good and bad debt?
Oh yeah. We can do that.
Yeah. I have a YouTube video on that, I believe, but it's only 90 seconds. So we could get into depth with it, but
okay.
Awesome, guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend and have an awesome tax return day. Or, you might be paying taxes too, but we can help you with that too.
Absolutely.
See you next week.
See you next week.